Hi again everyone, Ken from Whittling Woods, back again on a nice windy day here. You saw me trimming a piece, one of the branches, that dogwood, it's actually a dogwood tree, fell over. It was quite windy. It was an old tree and not in the greatest shape. The wind took it down, as you could see from that little video there. Anyway, we cut a little section of it out, and we're going to do a little hillbilly here today. We're going to use a little pocket knife, this Rough Rider pocket knife, and do the hillbilly in this little thing. It's not going to be a wood spear. It's going to be, you know, like a little figure in here. Very rustic. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. So I'll be right back. I'll get everything set up and I'll be right back. Okay, for anyone who's curious, I should have mentioned that it's about an inch in diameter, the piece, a little more, about an inch and an eighth it looks like. And this piece here is just about 6 inches or so. It'll probably be a little shorter than that, the hillbilly, but it'll give us some room to hold on to. I'm first going to just start removing some of the bark. So we can just kind of go through here. I'm just going to remove it, most of the bark here, and I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. We're going to leave a little on because we'll make them standing on a little stump here. That's usually a kind of a fun thing to do. First thing I'm going to do is start taking down the end a bit. I don't know about any of you. If anybody's tried to whittle a piece of dogwood, let me know in the comments. First time for me whittling dogwood. It's green, but it's tough. I doubt very much. I know it's a very hard wood once it's all cured. Or you know, seasoned, excuse me, but it's pretty difficult right now, actually. I'm trying to look at the piece, figure what the best way to handle this is. We're going to give them a little kind of, I don't know, little hat, and we're going to try to keep. I'm going to keep this figure basically pretty simple. You know, he's just going to have real long hair and a big beard, hair coming down across his face, so he won't even have any eyes. It'll be relatively simple to do. So grab yourself a branch like I did if you have one, and get your knife out and follow along, or just sit back with your favorite beverage and watch me do it, and then you know, do it yourself if you're so inclined. But let me take this down a bit. You don't have to see this. I'm just going to, like I said, whittle it down to kind of like a peak for his hat. So no use making you sit through that. Be right back. Okay, you can kind of see I just started whittling the end down here. The way I'm kind of looking at this piece, it's such a windy day. We've had a couple lots of rain and wind, and what I think I'm going to do is make everything sort of blowing in that direction. His hat, his beard, you know, his hair, everything kind of is going to be blowing off to the figures. That would be his figure's left side. So, I mean, that's the intention here. So I'll say that's probably the bottom of the hat. You know, we're going to, like I said, his face is going to be right about in here. So we'll put the hat over here. I'm just going to go around, kind of mark it, and just take it kind of around. I usually slope the hat towards the back a bit. I don't know if you can hear in the background, the wind's really kicking up, so excuse me if that messes up the audio in this video. I hope not. You can kind of see what I'm doing here. Just forming a little hat, and I'm just going to kind of go around. This is old-fashioned whittling. Yeah, you found a piece of wood, you get your pocket knife out, and you just whittle. And whatever kind of wood it is, you figure out how to. Like I said, I've never whittled dogwood before. But I don't know, it may not even hold up too well, but it really doesn't matter. It's the process that we enjoy. Personally, I kind of like I kind of like doing figures like this. I really enjoy the just grabbing a piece of a stick or a branch and just seeing what happens. This is my favorite type, the most enjoyable way to whittle for me. Just sitting on your porch, seeing what happens. You know. And sometimes it doesn't come out, and sometimes you just, you throw it back in the woods. But that's okay. So there you go. We're kind of getting there. I'm probably going to switch to the smaller blade. This big one's a little cumbersome to use. It's not a very big piece. Like I said, it was a little over 1 inch in diameter. But there you go. I'm going to switch blades and I'll be right back. Okay, switch to a smaller blade here. We're going to start angling back the sides of his face. What we're going to have is his nose kind of sticking out, hair on either side of the nose just covering his whole face, and then beard and all that kind of stuff. You know. So we kind of angle this down just a bit and kind of see. I'm curious how this wood, when it dries, if it's going to darken a lot. Right now it's pretty light colored, but I'm curious when it dries what it's going to look like. I'm just forming the bottom of his nose right now. Basically stop cuts, and then I'm cutting up to it, so I'm kind of just notching it out, and that's all. And again, this is going to be pretty rustic. You know, I'm not going for super detail. You know, if you want that, get your basswood out and whittle yourself up something. I mean, you could certainly get detail in here. I guess, I don't know. You know, when I'm trying a new piece of wood that I've never whittled before, I don't like to go hog wild. You know, putting a lot of detail, because I don't know what's going to happen. It might not hold up. But there you go. So you can kind of see we notched out something for his nose over there. I'm just going to come down along the sides here and just put a little kind of cut in here, cut up here, and then just kind of come in there and start taking out just a little bit of wood on the side. Not too much, because we're going to have, you know, it's not going to be a face. It's going to have hair kind of coming down over here. So that's all I'm doing. Just trimming it back a bit. You can kind of see, makes the and so the hair is going to kind of basically come down over here, kind of go along the back, and then I'll have a beard and everything else. Like I said, we're going to try to keep everything blowing in this direction, sort of like towards the figure's left side. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing on this side. Yeah, I don't know if you saw in the beginning of the video there that the tree where I cut this from, I wound up, I picked up this, I think it's the brand is Fiskar. It's a little branch cutting saw, and it's actually pretty good. For cutting branches like this, you know, it works really good. It cuts right through it. And it's a nice folding saw. You can kind of take it with you. And I wound up actually cutting the whole tree down with it. It was a bit of a challenge getting through the main stump. Or trunk, I should say, but it actually did the job, believe it or not. So I just kind of cleaned it out and threw it into the wood area along the side of our property here. So I've had that little Fiskar saw for a number of years now. I bought it. Sometimes I would take it with me if I go hiking. If I saw a branch, you know, a tree falling over, I'd use it to cut a section out for whittling. And it's, like I said, it folds up, so it's real nice. And it's stayed relatively sharp without me doing a lot to it to keep it that way, which is nice. So there you go. We got a little kind of pudgy little nose in there. We'll thin it out a bit as we go. Like I said, these are going to be kind of rustic figures here, so let's just kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to trim up the sides of his nostrils just a bit. Just bring that up a little bit more. Bring this down a little bit. The bridge of his nose, the top of his nose, I kind of want it angled in a bit more than it is. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So like I said, for the hair, I think, I'm trying to think of how I'm going to do this. I'm going to come down here with the hair, and it's going to maybe just go around like that. I think that's what I'm going to do. Bring it right down along the side of his nose. And we'll see what happens here. I don't, again, I'm not sure how well it's going to work, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah, something like that. This will be his, you know, his hair coming down on his head over here. And we're going to make the hair come down pretty far along his back. This old boy's got long hair. He doesn't care. So there you go. We'll sort of do that for the hair here. What I think I'm going to do is bring this one over just a bit more, and it's going to tie in down over here. So this one I'm going to kind of come down and bring it over a bit more so it ties into this wood down over here. Or excuse me, this section over here. So that's my thinking here, at least. I don't know. I'll kind of making it up as I go here. There you go. I mentioned this in another, I think the Wood Spirit video I did a few weeks back, where you don't really know what you're going to find once you start cutting into this wood. You're going to find imperfections and little flaws and knots and everything else. So, you know, keep that in mind when you're doing this. It's not, this isn't, you know, some kiln dried wood that was harvested specifically for the purpose of whittling. You know, some basswood suppliers, they have really great, high quality basswood that's, you know, it's clean and it's easy to carve. This is not that kind of wood. So there you go here. Like you can see right in this area over here, there's a little, I don't know what it is, a little, probably just a little knot in the wood. But, you know, whatever. That's what I said, rustic. You don't paint these, you just, you know, you let them dry, and then you wax it up a bit. There we be. So our boy's got his hair kind of flowing down along the side over here. We're going to give him a beard that's going to kind of come down. Maybe this, I'm going to make the beard come, he's got a long beard. I'm going to make it come down probably pretty far. We're going to, most of his hand on this side is going to be covered up. We'll just show one hand on this side maybe in his, under his, you know, in his overalls or whatever he's got on. But let's start thinking about the beard. I'm going to come down about the midway point over here. You know, this is the side of the piece, so let's start the beard over here. And we're going to just kind of bring it right down. You really don't know what you're going to wind up with this type of whittle. You aim for something and then you wind up with something else. So I kind of try not to get too fixated on every little detail initially. I just want to kind of get areas sort of roughed in a bit. There you go. You can kind of see how his beard's swinging off into that direction over there. And you know, if we give him a mustache, we'll have the same thing. It'll kind of flow down in that direction. It'll give a little bit of movement to the figure rather than making it static off from the front. You know, it's just the way I'm thinking in terms of planning it out in my head. There you go. And then for the other side of the beard, we're just going to kind of just take it from here, from right about here, I think, and just kind of tie it in. So, when you're dealing with green wood like this is, you know, normally when you cut into the wood, you sort of see where your cut marks are. You see your stop cuts. This they disappear when you make a cut. Since the wood is still green, it just kind of seals up around it. You can see you can barely see where that cut mark is. I just kind of go in and come back underneath with a little bit of a push cut to kind of get a grip on where that is and kind of see how that came together on the side over there. I'm going to come down here a little bit further, I think. So you got all these little flaws and knots and everything you can see over here as you're cutting through. You're going to find that, and you're just going to have to work with it. It's the way it is with this kind of stuff. I'm trying to get to a point where I figure where I like to put his shoes. I'm thinking right about here, maybe a little further down. I'm going to try to keep this figure relatively skinny. The last little 3-inch guy I did was he kind of had a belly on him, so this guy will thin him out a bit more. I think his hands are gonna be, oh, I don't know. Let's see. We'll make his hands kind of come down around here. Maybe, well, we'll put his hands in his pocket. Let's just do that. So I'm going to say right about here is the pocket. And we'll just kind of cut right into that. So it's going to look like he's got hand in a pocket over here. They're down in his pants area. So we'll come up here and start defining where the hand's going to be, I think. Let's just see. I might have a little bit further, I think, back. So maybe right here. You can kind of see how that is over there. Give him a little bit of a hand on the side, or excuse me, arm. This area over here is going to be sort of his shoulder. So I'm cutting that back underneath his beard and his hair. That's all. It's just kind of hidden beneath all that, you know, sloping up into it. There you go. You can see his other hand's hidden underneath all this hair, so we don't have to. Man, I tell you, I'm losing it. I keep saying hand. His arm is hidden underneath all that hair, so we don't have to worry about that. It makes it a little easier to whittle. Only dealing with one arm. And it you know, brings some asymmetry into the piece as well, which is always nice too. So there you go. I'm going to kind of come back around just a bit more for where his hands are going into his pocket. And then I'm just going to put a little notch up over here to define the, bring it back just a little bit more, to define the back of his arm. Right in here somewhere. I'll kind of come back in here and just notch that out a bit. We don't have to go too far with this on it going up, you know. We'll just create some boundaries for ourselves when we're doing these. So you can kind of see his hands are just tucked straight into his pocket over there. I want to bring it up just a little bit further. So I kind of put my knife in there, and then I kind of come back with a push cut, and I just remove some of the wood. I'm just trying to make his hand and his arm stand out a little bit. Well, his hands are in his pocket, so we don't have to, you know, we'll just kind of give an indication that they're in the pocket. But there you go. Now we can kind of cut. We'll figure his elbow is going to be right about here or so, give or take. We'll put a little cut in there. Kind of put a little notch. So we'll remind ourselves, you know, give him a little bit of an angle on his arm. It's kind of, there you go. I guess you can see that. So I'm going to kind of cut down into that cut and then up to it. There you go. So we got his hands in his pocket. We got his beard. We got his hat. We're going to kind of come down here, figure out where his old boots are going to be. Let's start putting those in. I'm going to cut a little notch right here. You can see we're going to have his boots. We'll put his pants here, so we'll put the bottom of his pants and the top of his boot right about here. I'd say looks good. Put a little stop cut in. You can kind of see they disappear pretty quick. So. This side's going to be a little hard over here because these knots are definitely tough to cut through. So there you go. We got the beginnings of his, the bottom of his pants and the top of his boots over here. Square that off a little bit. It's a little crooked. So this will be right about in here, his knees. So we're going to start sloping this back because we want this to be the high point over here, right where his knees would be coming out. So I'm just going to, like I said, he's going to be a thin fella. This old boy spent his time whittling rather than eating. There you go. And I just want to kind of clean this up in the back here as well. And we'll put, we're going to say, like I said, his knees, if you look at the piece from the side over here, his knees are going to be right about in here. So we're going to carry that around to the back over here. And I'm just going to mark it with my finger here. So knees here, the back of the knees are going to be where my finger is over here. So we'll put a cut into the wood over here, you know, straight in. Got a bird making a lot of racket over here. That's what they do. Set up their nests. Springtime. I think that might be a blue jay. There you go. So this is going to be kind of his legs sloping up, back of his knees, and the, you know, we try to simplify this a bit. His backside, his knees, everything kind of comes in this area. This will be the his lower back right in here. So what I do is I start to thin that out a bit too. I like to get a little bit of a curve in the lower back. So I start kind of going around here, thinning it out just a bit, bringing it in. You can kind of see here. See how that's, maybe from that side it's a little bit better. I like to have some curve, you know, in a small piece like this, you know, an inch and an eighth diameter. You're for a full figure, it's hard to get a lot of motion in there, but certain areas I think lend themselves to that. The lower back, the knees, those kind of things. And again, this is just a rustic little whittle here. We're not going for super hyper detail or anything. It's just what it is. Just having fun here. And that's what I mean. You just kind of go with it. You don't know what you're going to wind up with. You're going to see a lot of imperfections and knots in the wood. I should say that imperfection is the wrong word, because it's wood. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, it doesn't exist by the same standards that humans like to pretend they exist by. Perfection. Wood just grows. It is what it is. And I really enjoy all those little imperfections in the wood. I'm a big advocate of your wood carvings and your whittles looking like wood carvings and whittles, not like something that was printed. And I mentioned I'm going to do a painting tutorial. The piece I did the last whittle I did, the little 3-inch figure. I'm working on a little painting tutorial on that one, and I'll discuss more on how I paint pieces to keep them as, you know, looking like wood as much as possible, at least. So there you go. You can kind of see we got ourselves. It doesn't take too long to get these figures whittled out. You just kind of just follow a plan. Alter it as you need, and you're good to go. So we're getting there. I'm going to put a little split. We're going to follow right down, right his nose, so his boots will be split right here. And I'm going to just put a little notch in the wood. So I kind of go in with my knife like so, and I'm going to just cut out a little bit of a notch to get the boots started. You can kind of see how I did that. It'll just kind of get us going there. And I do the same thing on the bottom. I'm going to put the bottom of the piece right about here. So I'll cut into the wood, and we're just separating the boots, and that's all this is for. And I guess if you were making like a wizard or so, you could put him in a big robe, and you maybe could, and wouldn't even have to worry about showing his feet, boots, whatever. But this little hillbilly guy, you know, he's got his overalls on and he's got some boots sticking out. And it doesn't take much to do it. You kind of see, we're again, you know, think rustic, think relatively simple design. That's the way I like to do it. Keep it simple. What's the old saying? Kiss, keep it simple, stupid. You know, just keep it simple. You don't have to go crazy. And anybody could do this. You know, do it a few. This is, you know, this just requires you to sit down and pull get yourself a piece of wood. Oops, I'm breaking off pieces every year. That's what I'm saying. I don't know how fragile or how, you know, how much detail this wood's going to hold, but you kind of have to just accept some of the imperfections in terms of where your cuts are. You know, you might be aiming for something, and then a piece just chips right out because, well, it's a new type of wood, and you're not used to. You know, you don't know how it's going to whittle and how it's going to hold up. So just, you know, don't get, if that happens, if a piece chips out or something, you know, like it did sort of right here at the bottom of the boot, well, that's okay. Don't worry about it. You know, we'll figure out a way to make it work. I mean, for the most part, it seems to be holding up okay, the wood. But I don't know once it fully dries out. And when you're doing stuff like this, it tends to, you know, it tends to dry out a lot faster because you remove the bark, you're removing a lot of wood, so it's, you know, the moisture can escape a little bit easier. Sometimes I find that if you do these kind of whittles on green wood and then you just let it sit, it does, you know, you're going to start getting some checks and splits in the wood that, you know, maybe you didn't anticipate. You can slow that down by putting like wax on the ends a bit, even putting maybe a light coat of wax on the piece as it dries. I'm not, you know, I don't know, to be honest with you, whether or not that's the greatest idea, but you know, I've done that before where before it's completely dry, I'll put a light coat of wax just to sort of slow it down. Since the wax isn't a permanent thing, you're not putting like polyurethane on there, so it does still allow some moisture to get through, but it slows the process down, and I think it keeps it from at least in my experience, that it kind of keeps it from checking. So there you go, we got a little boots on there. Let's carry up the split in his boots just a little bit, or excuse me, split in the pants over there. So I'm doing is put a little cut in there and just, again, take out some notches on either side. We're just trying to create a bit of a boundary there between its two legs. And you kind of see we're just separating the pants there. There you go. We'll come up just a bit higher, right above his knees. I'm sorry if I, you know, flip the piece back and forth a lot, and it's you know, might be confusing if you're watching it to see that, but it's unfortunately that's it. You know, there's no way around that. You know, I'll try to stop here a little bit and let you see. All I did was just form a notch here. We're separating the pants over here, and he's got some dirt and stuff on his pants. You can see with all these little knots in here. And something looks like he sat in something dirty too. So I don't know. Some of my pants can get a little messed up as well when I'm out there doing stuff. So I can sympathize with his wardrobe malfunctions. So there you go. Alrighty. I just went along, did the same thing on the back that I and on the front. We just separated the pants a little bit here. So you know that's all I'm doing. So you can kind of see how that is. And then let's just start rounding it out a bit more. So that's all. And then for here, now at this point in the whittle here, we're pretty much pretty far along in terms of the type of the bulk of the features. We got his hand over here. We don't have to show the other hand because his hair and everything else are taking care of that for us. They're hiding it, which is, you know, makes it just a tad bit easier to whittle. And now we'll just start shaping and doing the final shaping. So I just kind of go around and I start shaping the wood a bit, you know, adding different facets to it. And this is when you start thinking about what kind of detail you might want to add to the piece. I'm going to keep this pretty pretty rustic looking, because I'm kind of going for that look with this. And also, you know, we don't want the video to drag out too long. My videos have been kind of long lately, and I know that's probably doesn't work with YouTube's algorithm, as they say. Everybody wants really short attention spans. I think most of the people that watch my video are in my demographic in terms of age, and so maybe we don't suffer as much from the deficit in attention span. Apparently, the average attention span has dropped dramatically, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that people watch there's a lot of these shorts. YouTube has them. I don't like doing those personally, because I don't really see the point in that, and I actually kind of find them a little bit irritating. But what's the other thing? TikTok, I think it's called. You know, everything's like a few, less than 30 seconds long, or thereabouts. You know, honestly, I don't really have time to watch a lot of mindless stuff like that. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd rather sit around and do this than watch these shorts and people doing dumb things. I don't know. Personally, I find those things really mind-numbingly dumb. But that's just me. So here you go. I think I am going to put a little mustache in here. So let's, just to add a little bit more detail to it, I'm going to split it right here, and then come back over here and take a bit of a notch out. And then I'm going to carry the mustache down right along the side over here. I mean, it's all part of his beard, mustache, you know. He's grown his stuff pretty long, so. But we're just going to carry this right down and around here, I think. Right towards the end of the beard, I believe. That's what I'll do. Yep. That's what I'm doing. And then what I'll do here is, if you can see, this is where the mustache ends and the beard begins. In order to define that boundary a little bit more, what I'll do is I'll cut in here down to his where his body is, and I'll notch it out a bit. That'll make the just define it a little bit more, I think, and not much, but just enough to kind of make it look like the mustache is overlapping. I don't know if you can see how that worked there, but that's it, And I'm going to come back in here and start rounding that out a bit. So we have one side done, or roughed in, so to speak. Obviously the next side we're gonna have to do something a little bit different. The wood in here is a little bit stringy, so let me try to clean that up a bit. So normally, you'd have the mustache fairly symmetrical coming down the other side, but in this case, like I said, it's a windy day, and he's sitting out in the breeze. So this mustache here, we're going to bring this fella down along, kind of following the same general path. Maybe bring it down to about here. I don't know. We'll see. Going to be a bit of a challenge defining that, but let's see how we can do that. Yeah, I think so. Right about here. Like I said, when you're cutting into green wood like this, it is so hard to see your cut marks. You kind of see how that's coming over here. So his mustache is going to come down this way. Excuse me. Again, I apologize for flipping the piece around so much. It really can't be avoided. And I'm going to do this kind of the same idea to make it stand out a little bit more. I'm just going to notch it so it looks like the beard's on a, they're not exactly lined up. It probably wouldn't be like that in real life. You can kind of see how that goes. So the beard's sort of tucked in underneath all that mustache area. Just the way I'm looking at it. I'm going to curve that just a bit more. maybe curve it a little bit further up into here as well. I think it's a little too thick on that one side. There we go. That's a little bit better. You can kind of see how that goes. So his mustache, beard, everything else kind of flinging around that way. I'm just going to keep cutting it back a little bit to add a little bit more of a curve to it. And get up there and try to get out some of that wood underneath between the two sections of the mustache, right in here, just to define it a little bit more. And then we can, now that we have that kind of done, we can kind of go back here and start just cleaning it up, I guess. You know, you look at your piece now and you go, oh, what can I add? What can I do? Yeah, it's coming along kind of interesting in a way. Let me cut this back a little bit over here. Yeah, I think so. I think this is a little too bulky on that side. There you go. I might want to bring this around even more. I kind of like that better. There you go. That's what I'm saying. You know, you hear me kind of thinking out loud here. This is the process I go through when I'm looking at these pieces as I'm beginning to do it. I had a vague idea of what I wanted, and then I, you know, inspired by the windy day and the fact that you know, this is from a part of a tree, a section of one of the branches that was blown down in the wind. I just wanted to make that more noticeable in the piece. So that's about it. At this point here, I'm just going to kind of go back. What I'm going to do here is just go around, and I want to thin out the hat a little bit more. I want to create more of a brim on the bottom over here, right in this area. So what I'm going to kind of come in and do is start swooping it. It helps to have a nice little blade like this to do this kind of stuff. I want to start just getting in there and swooping that out a bit. So it looks a little bit like it's tucked up over. He's got it sitting on top of his head. You know, it's kind of folding around his head a little bit. So I'm going to go around the whole bottom and do that. You know, we're working it a little bit more here. And then maybe on the top here we'll angle that even over a little bit more. All right, you see how that goes now? We got everything moving in that direction. Everything's kind of pushing over here. Just enough to kind of give it a little bit more motion. There you go. And so I start going back and around here, and you know, again, I like to round out that back a little bit, create a little bit of a slope in here. I think it just looks better that way. So that's all I'm thinking now. I'll start shaping his backside a bit more. Bring it up just a bit. I'm thinking to myself, you know, this guy, if he's like me, he's probably got a back pocket right about here on his in his pants over here, overalls, whatever it is. I'd say right about here. That this This old boy keeps a knife in, a little whittling knife that he can pull out and start whittling. So we're going to give him a little pocket and pretend there's a knife in there. No one else will know about it when they look at this, probably, but I do, and now you do too. I'm just putting it right in here. Just a little bit of an indication of a pocket. Just on one side. You kind of see how that is back there. You know, maybe maybe I went too far towards the center. I'll have to bring it out a little bit more on this side. All right. What I like to do for where his hands kind of go into his pants, if I have the room here, I'm going to try to create just a bit of a to look like his hands are in his pockets. I like to whittle some of the wood underneath, so it kind of looks like there's a bit of a the pants kind of bulge out just a bit where his hands are. So you don't have to go overboard with it. You know, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it exactly on this little piece like I normally would, but we'll see. Other thing we can do here is create some folds in his pants. That looks good, I think. Sometimes on these old fellows, put a cut like that, and then come back up on the other side. Put a little notch cut. You're basically what you're aiming for is a bit of a triangle right here that kind of points to the back. The pants are sort of folding in over there, so that's all that is. It's just kind of, gives it that look. So adds a little bit more character to the piece. This is going to be a little bit more of a challenge on this side over here, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get it to work or not. I don't know. It's got all these crazy irregularities in the wood over here, but that's okay. We'll give it our best shot. It doesn't have to be much. And when you cut into wood like this over here, like on this side, you don't know. Sometimes you take a chance. You cut too much into it, and it just breaks right away. A little bit did over here, but it's okay. Kind of like so. And then we can kind of figure out if what we want to do or not do with the hair. Do we want to define it more or just leave it like this? Should we put little notches in the bottom? Sometimes that looks good. Like if we come down here, we put a little notch at the bottom. Sort of go around here, maybe find a few places that we can do that. I don't have to go crazy with that. Stuff like that. I'll probably go around and pick out a few spots to do that. As I'm cleaning this piece up, just to bring it out a little bit more. And I go back and I kind of define those a little bit more. I'll come back in here and I'll try to make it look kind of like what we did with the mustache and the beard. Make them look like they're not just notches, but they're it's like separate strands of hair, so to speak, or bunches of hair kind of getting a little scraggly on the back of his head. When you got long hair like this, it's tough to keep it clean. That's kind of funny. This figure's skinny with long hair, and the last figure I did, a little 3-inch guy, and you want to check that video out, look a few videos back. He was chubby and was bald. So we're spanning the gamut here at Whittling Woods. And that was in a piece of basswood with a whittling knife. And here we're a piece of dogwood with a pocket knife. So you never know what you're going to get on this channel. There you go, something like that. You can kind of see a little bit how the hair's breaking apart. I'm going to go around and do a few more of those kind of things, but the video is getting a little bit long, so I want to sort of move it along a bit. So let me go take care of a little bit of that detail. And again, I'm just kind of going through, putting a little notches in where the hair is and separating that a bit more. And I'll be right back. Okay, I just went around here, and you can see I just added just a bit of detail to the hair to kind of separate it a bit more. I think it just adds a little bit more of character to the piece. What I'm going to do here is kind of do the nose a little bit. It's kind of boring looking, so I'm going to put a little nostril in here. I'm just going to put a little cut right about there, and then cut up to it and cut down to it. And you kind of see how that creates a bit of a nostril over there. And I'll turn it around and let me get it lined up, and I'll do the same thing on this side over here. So I think we're right about here, give or take, and then cut up to it and cut down to it, same kind of thing. Take a little notch over there. Just creates a bit of a, kind of makes it look a little bit more like nostrils on his, you know, on his nose over there. And then maybe thin the upper part out just a bit more. And thin this side out just a little bit as well. And I kind of come in here and I start to scoop this out over here. This is a standard way that I do noses. I've done videos just on doing the nose, so you know, check it out if you're so inclined to want a bit more detail. Just be careful when you're doing this, because if you're pushing down this way to get to the nostril, you go a little too far, you know, he loses his nostril. So, and I've done it, so just keep that in mind. Handle the knife and the pushes at that point, the push cuts at that point, very gingerly. You don't overdo it. You'll slice something off that you didn't intend to. And sometimes it's not fixable. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But I'm kind of trying to give this guy a bit of a crooked nose. I want it, I know it's kind of crazy, but I'm kind of aiming for even his nose curving. Oops, I'm sorry, I'm out of the camera. Even his nose curving in that direction. So I don't know. It just the way I'm thinking. I guess I really wanted to just add as much movement towards the figure's right side as I could, and I was trying to do that with the nose. I don't know if it's going to be completely achievable, but you know, sometimes people's noses are like that. They sort of swing around a bit. They can be, you know, maybe you know, he was had a little run-in with the porch door after too much moonshine. I don't know. Whatever. So just give him a little, I don't know, does it look crooked? It's a little crooked. You know, just add, you know, start adding these little fun things to your Whittle. Makes it look interesting, or silly, or whatever. Makes you laugh, and that's all that matters. So there you go. I kind of want to swoop the hat up just a bit more. And I'm going to pretty much call this figure kind of done. Oh, you know what, I didn't finish his boots over here. I'm just going to kind of, what I like to do is you can see I sort of worked on this one here. I like to tuck the boot, make it go inward in this direction, sort of sloping slightly downward, if you can. So I kind of come in here and I start, you know, nibbling away a bit just to make it, you know, like kind of like your own boots and shoes would do. You know, sometimes you can do it, sometimes you can't. I don't know. It kind of just looks better when you do that. You can kind of sort of see there a little bit of a, then you're going to have to come back in here and just round them out a bit more as you go in there. We're pretty much far along here. I'm just going to carry up the back of his arm just a bit more, just kind of a bit. I'm not going to go too crazy with that because I kind of like it blending into his back like that. And I'm going to clean that up on the bottom there. Okay, you can kind of see here, we got the slope of his back. We got his back side, the slope into his knees. His knees are kind of sticking out a little bit on the front over there. Maybe we'll take that back just a little bit more. Again, we want to keep a little bit of the bulge for his where his hands are in his pocket over there. We'll start just kind of cleaning up his arms a bit, and that's really about it. You can kind of put little V notches in here as well, like we did down by the knees, you know, because it is kind of folding around here as well. You know, something like that. Just to kind of, again, just little subtle details like that. That's all we're aiming for. And if you don't feel like doing that, don't do it. We got his crooked nose, his blowing beard, his crooked hat. This guy's got a lot of motion, a lot of flow there. There you go. That was a fun little whittle. That's pretty much it. I'm just going to kind of go through here. The problem with reamwood like this, it can be kind of a little stringy in the deeper spots, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to clean that out. And that's not something you want to watch me do because it's typically not that fun to watch. I'm still looking at this hat and figuring I gotta thin it out a bit more, especially up front over here. Kind of like creating a little bit more of a brim on that hat on the bottom, is, you know, without overdoing it. Go. I'm going to call this one, for the most part, in terms of video, kind of done, because we really don't have much more to do here, and I won't make you sit through all the boring cleanup part of it. Yeah, well, again, not boring for me because I enjoy it. It's putting this final little just cleanup things where you know you're getting to the end of the whittle, and it was enjoyable whittle. You had a lot of fun doing it, and now you're just kind of going around and you're saying, okay, little frayed pieces of wood here and there. You know, we can take our knife and slowly remove them and add a little bit more. Just clean it up a bit. That's all. And kind of sit here, see where we're at on this old fella here. It was a fun little whittle. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. I'll clean them up. I'll put them on display, and I'll let you take a look at it. I hope you enjoyed that one. It was a lot of fun for me to do. Have a great whittling week. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.